I'll close this off soon with some other questions, but there's been this question I've been itching to ask from the beginning, and I've told myself I'll wait to the end, but I'm not going to anymore. And it's the morbid side of me that kicks in. I'm sure many of us are it's probably the first question we'd normally ask in a casual sort of social scene. You got to tell us what are some of the most crazy things you've seen in ED? So here's the morbid side kicking. Like, surely you've seen some pretty funky stuff.
Well, I can't go into specifics due to confidentiality laws.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. But in general, I've seen people who've been shot, who've been stabbed. I do the helicopter job, and so I've been to sort of accident scenes and that sort of thing. I think, the things that surprise me are not so much the serious stuff. I think the things that surprise me are just the things that you wouldn't think. So people who go up ladders to clean their gutters or something and then fall over and have horrendous injuries.
Right.
So everyday sort of stuff. So, I mean, heaven knows, everybody, has access to ladders.
Yes.
Right? You can just go to the hardware store and buy it.
Correct.
But, and you can't license everybody who owns a ladder.
That's
but
a good
you
point.
would be really surprised at how much pretty serious injury can happen with everyday stuff.
All right. And so you got ladders. What are some other things?
So I've seen more than one person who just by the slip of the mind and not really 100% focusing was mowing the lawn, and then something got stuck in the motor blades and they put their hand in.
No.
Yeah. It's just because they were so occupied with what they're doing. And went, it's stuck in there, and they stuck their hand in there, and then,
All right. So random stuff like that.
But with everyday things.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you're not going to go into the details of your shootings and stabbings and whatever. Does any of that stuff make it hard for you to go to bed at night?
Sometimes, yeah, definitely. I think as you get more experience in the field of medicine in general, no matter what specialty you do, you get thicker skin. But, I can still vividly recall the first time I had to explain to family that, somebody had died.
Right, of course. Yes.
And being in the emergency department, it's not necessarily like, for example, if you happen to do work in the cancer centre where people know their diagnosis and have some idea that they are sick.
Yes.
Sometimes you will see people who were either perfectly fine and had no idea they were sick and who have had terrible things happen to them. And I think more than seeing the actual sickness, it's dealing with the emotional response. That's kind of the thing that lingers with you.
Right, of course.
Because a lot of the time it's not actually the patient that you're dealing with, it's the family members. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I can't imagine. I mean, with all your experience now, obviously you would still have to continue passing on that information. Does it, now I don't mean to by any means, downgrade the severity of the situation, but does it become, I'm going to use the word, much more manageable? I don't want to use the word
definitely.
easier.
No, definitely. I mean, because I think as you have to do it more, your mind kind of learns to compartmentalize.
Right.
And go, look, this is part of the job. And that it is basically, a part of life.
Yeah.
People are going to get sick, things are going to happen. And it's my job to actually, explain it to people. I think obviously it's, there are always going to be times when someone reminds you of someone you know or a situation that you've been in, and it's definitely harder than, other times. But I think one of the things that you get good at is not only just having to deal with that sort of stuff, but I think if you want longevity in doing this job, that you need to learn how to debrief it. So even if it's not formally, but to speak with your colleagues or whatever, or, your partner or whoever is appropriate, to kind of vent it, and so that you don't keep it all kind of bottled up to yourself.
Yeah. But the thing is, okay, and it's funny because Dennis, the episode 1 participant, mentioned something very similar. Now, when you debrief or when you get it out of your system, do you talk about the specifics of it, or is it more just the emotions? Like, is it, there was a situation today and I had to do this and this and this and this and this? Yeah. And is it just the fact that you can tell someone what happened? Is that enough? Or is it more, oh, damn, this happened and I'm feeling like this and I don't know, or you know.
I think it depends on the situation because being that it's you know, I think some people call it that some doctors have a God complex sort of thing. But I guess...
Sorry, what do you mean by God complex?
So that, you know, you're in control.
Right. Okay.
And I think,
sort of like a self-denial sort of thing. I'm okay, or...
Well, no, I meant more like when you're looking after the patient, I think if it was unexpected, there's certain debriefing that at least I certainly feel I need to do with my colleagues about going through it and, reassuring myself that everything that could have been done has been done.
Yeah.
And that, you know, and to just sort of air out that, there wasn't anything more we could do. And, you know, take whatever lessons we need to take from that.
Yeah.
And that kind of debriefing, you know, you need to do with a colleague who understands the way that, you know, medicine works. But I think, you know, for example, the first time I had to tell a family member, I wasn't really worried about the actual resuscitation situation of the patient because it was quite obvious that there was nothing we could do. But, you know, I found that I debriefed with my friends because it was a very big emotional toll on me, that it was the first time I actually had to be the person who sat down with, you know, the patient's wife and whatever and tell them what happened. And
I'm guessing a doctor wouldn't be put in that position until they're at a registrar level, or can it be anywhere in the spectrum?
Well, yeah, you can't really predict.
Right.
So, you know...
It's just whoever's there, whoever's generally the most senior, or just...
Generally, the way that it's supposed to work, obviously, is that the most senior person should have that conversation. Because it's not just a matter of experience, but also out of respect for...
Right, of course.
For the family, that the person who's best able to answer all the questions that they have is the person who tells them the information. And also, I think, because, for example, the first time I had to tell someone, it was during night shift. I was actually a registrar, but I was the most senior person around doctor-wise. So that, you know, it was my job, irrespective of whether I'd seen the patient or not. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, wow, that's pretty full on. Obviously, being a doctor is no small feat by any means. So, no, thank you very much for that.